Shalom, family. Good to see you all. Hope you're doing well. Just a reminder, this sale is for the botana oil. This is actually the first time I've put the botana oil on sale. And hopefully, I'll be able to do it more, maybe another time this year. So grab your jars, grab your bottles, and get them for 30% off. It's 30% off on Etsy, Shopify, and TikTok Shop. All right. So now let's get into this, y'all, because this is absolutely crazy. Donald Trump, I guess he think he has the power to say who lives or dies. And Donald Trump, you don't have that power. And nor will you ever have it. The bottom line is you really think you're way greater than what you really truly are. But most of your people are like that. You think you're way greater than what you are. You are nothing special, Donald Trump, nothing special. And he is saying he is going to end the whole Iranian civilization tonight. Almost like that's why some people think it's a possibility that nukes may be used. And he goes back to taking out their power, taking out their bridges, every bridge in Iran. He's going to take that out. And see, what he doesn't realize, an attack on bridges and power plants, that's an attack on the citizens. The citizens are going to be the most impacted by that. And not to mention, that's a war crime. But when does Donald Trump care about committing crimes or breaking laws? He doesn't care. He doesn't care. He never cared. So, anyway, I don't know if any of you heard, but I heard they're taking up measures against Pete Hegseth for war crimes. They're getting ready to take up measures and impeach him. Now, if it's going to go somewhere, I don't know. But, with this Congress and Senate, everything is real iffy because they sit over there and act like they don't want to move against Donald Trump at all, you know. But that is something that just came out in the news about an hour ago, that they are going to push measures to impeach Pete Hegseth for war crimes. And we'll see what happens. He definitely should go, but he'll still be there, at least for a while longer. So anyway, y'all, Donald Trump act like he is some kind of, he got some kind of power where he can tell you who gets to stay here on the earth and who has to go. And the health that Donald Trump is in, I wouldn't say too much about that if I were you, Donald Trump, because you look like you're going to be checking out tomorrow. You'd be looking so bad on certain days. And Iran put out another Lego video and they were mocking Donald Trump. In the video, Donald Trump's hand is wrapped up. So they're making fun of the bruising on Donald Trump's hand and how he always try to hide it. So, what I might do one day is compile all of their videos and we'll just sit and watch them because they're really good. Whoever does their Lego video, they're actually pretty good. The ones the US put out, they suck. They are not good at all. Y'all sure ain't putting your best and brightest together, but Iran sure is. They're putting their best and brightest to put those Lego videos out. I tell you what, when it comes down to the PR war, Iran is definitely winning for real. All right, y'all. Let me go ahead and share my screen. All right. Give me a one if you can see my screen. Well, they got one, it sounds like a reggae song. Yeah, and they use a lot of rap. I noticed that too. I said, okay, the Iranian people like rap because, quite a few of those Lego videos, they got rap music. But they got one where they are, in the rap, they're talking about the Epstein Island and all. I was like, oh man, they really get the details in They really put a lot of details about that stuff in their songs. Thank you, everybody.
Donald Trump thinks he's God and is threatening to end Iran's civilization this morning.
He says the whole of civilization will die tonight, never to be brought back again. I don't want that to happen, but it probably will. However, now that we have complete and total regime change, there are different, smarter, and less radicalized minds prevail. Maybe something revolutionary, wonderful can happen. Who knows? We will find out tonight. One of the most important moments in the long and complex history of the world. 47 years of extortion, corruption, and death will finally end. God bless the great people of Iran. So that statement just released on Truth Social by Donald Trump in relation, of course, to that deadline that should expire at 8 o'clock Eastern Time, US, which is 1 a.m. British time, so our time, 1 a.m. Wednesday morning, where Donald Trump has said that if the Strait of Hormuz has not been reopened and there isn't a deal with the Iranians, then he would destroy countless Iranian infrastructure, including power plants, bridges, and desalination plants as well.
We are now at a point in American history, ladies and gentlemen, where Donald Trump needs to be removed from office. Yes, the 25th Amendment. It is unacceptable for the President of the United States of America to be threatening to end any civilization on earth as if he is God. We already know that Donald Trump and his Secretary of War Crimes, Pete Hegseth, they've already dropped a lot of bombs on civilian infrastructure all over Iran, even Karg Island. So what is left? They're going to go after these nuclear facilities with children all around them. They just want to be the most notorious war criminals on the face of the earth. And I'm not having it. Article 25 immediately. The man is sick. The man is unhinged. He thinks he's God, and he thinks that he can do anything he wants to do without ever facing any consequences. This is sad. This is pathetic. And you Trump supporters that are championing this is on you. Seriously.
We do have a fresh statement from the President of the United States, Donald Trump, posting on Truth Social just in the last 5 minutes. He said, "A whole civilization will die tonight, never to be brought back again. I don't want that to happen, but it probably will." However, now that we have complete and total regime change, where different, smarter and less radicalized minds prevail, maybe something revolutionarily wonderful can happen. Who knows? We will find out tonight. One of the most important moments in the long and complex history of the world. 47 years of extortion, corruption, and death will finally end. God bless the great people of Iran. Donald J. Trump issuing that statement saying that a whole civilization will probably die tonight. Extraordinary language. And he qualifies it by saying that there is a chance that this may not happen because he claims that they have had complete and total regime change. Well, we have heard from the Iranian president in the last couple of hours saying that 15 million Iranians have signed up to sacrifice their lives for the regime. And of course, there are some hardline Islamic radicals within Iran who will be so committed to the regime, regardless of what happens, particularly while it's under American and Israeli bombardment. But of course, as we know, there is a significant opposition to the regime in the country as well. They haven't launched that regime change takeover from the ground, that it was said that the Israeli intelligence agency Mossad was hoping and anticipating would happen. Perhaps that's unsurprising after up to 45,000 perhaps protesters were massacred by the regime in January. But Donald Trump claiming that there has been complete and total regime change. If that's the case, they're certainly not acting in a complete and totally different way.
What the President of the United States threatened. A whole civilization will be unalive tonight, I added myself, never to be brought back. I don't want this to happen, but it probably will. However, now that we have complete and total regime change, where different, smarter, and less radicalized minds prevail, maybe something revolutionary, wonderful can happen. Who knows? The president said the world would find out tonight. So, do you think he's going to follow through this threat? Or is this him talking? Because I'm like, a whole civilization? Why would you say that? Why would you want this to happen to human beings? I'm just like, has the man lost his mind? I'm like, I just don't understand what's going on with this Iran war. I mean, there's no clear explanation. So, yeah, this is what that man said.
So the president just said that an entire civilization will die tonight. It's Tuesday. 2 days ago on Sunday, he had stated about the multiple war crimes he was going to commit by blowing up bridges and power plants. Where's the floor for Trump supporters in this cabinet? Like, I'm genuinely curious, where is the floor? Like, I'm not trying to be alarmist here, but like, the only way that he could really do that is by nuclear war or, using nuclear bombs, which I'm genuinely surprised he didn't do by now, especially with Hegseth in charge of that department. But like, at what point do you not expect your leaders to invoke the 25th Amendment? All of this is just still like...
He is issuing this warning this morning here, saying a whole civilization will die tonight if a deal isn't made to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. Let's continue to read this in full. He says, a whole civilization will die tonight, never to be brought back again. I don't want that to happen, but it probably will. However, now that we have complete and total regime change, where different, smarter, and less radicalized minds prevail, maybe something revolutionarily wonderful can happen. Who knows? We will find out tonight. One of the most important moments in the long and complex history of the world. 47 years of extortion, corruption, and death will finally end. God bless the great people of Iran.
Donald Trump just said a whole civilization will die tonight. That's the craziest threat that I've ever heard. This man is literally threatening to commit war crimes on social media. This is a terroristic threat. Why won't Congress grow some balls and impeach this man? Because it puts us all in danger, right? Because with America having a president like this, America becomes an existential threat to the world. When you become an existential threat to one country, you become an existential threat to all countries. And those countries have to unite to figure out how to eliminate that existential threat, right? Like America has become Cujo, a rabid dog that you need to put down. You know what I mean? I will never forgive y'all for putting us in danger like that. And I know y'all are going to say like, this is hyperbole, like you're over blowing it, you're exaggerating, but no, like, I'm just not arrogant enough to believe that America can protect itself if the whole world unites against us.
This is absolutely Trump's most disgusting post on social media ever. In a threat to Iran this morning, he wrote, a whole civilization will die tonight, never to be brought back again. The word civilization, derived from the word civilian, means women and children, civilians. He's threatening to wipe them out. This isn't okay.
We are following some breaking news here after President Trump had issued that 8 p.m. Eastern time deadline here tonight for Iran to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. He is issuing this warning this morning here, saying A whole civilization will die tonight if a deal isn't made to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. Let's continue to read this in full. He says, a whole civilization will die tonight, never to be brought back again. I don't want that to happen, but it probably will. However, now that we have complete and total regime change, where different, smarter, and less radicalized minds prevail, maybe something revolutionarily wonderful can happen. Who knows? We will find out tonight. One of the most important moments in the long and complex history of the world. 47 years of extortion, corruption, and death will finally end. God bless the great people of Iran. So once again, that was from President Trump just moments ago here on Truth Social. But I also wanted to share this post here from Truth Social just the other day from President Trump, as all of this is coming after he gave the Iranian regime until 8 p.m. Eastern time today to agree to a ceasefire that includes reopening the Strait of Hormuz. And here was that post from a few days ago. He says, Tuesday will be Power Plant Day and Bridge Day, all wrapped up in one in Iran. There will be nothing like it. Open the expletive strait, you crazy bastards, or you'll be living in hell. Just watch. Praise be to Allah. President Donald J. Trump. Now, I also wanted to share this here because we're learning this morning as well. The U.S. carried out dozens of strikes against military targets on Iran's Karg Island late last night and early this morning. That's according to a senior U.S. official speaking to Fox News.
A whole civilization will die tonight, never to be brought back again. I don't want that to happen, but it probably will. We should invoke the 25th Amendment fucking now. Articles of impeachment now.
Breaking news coming into us from NBC. Actually, before that, let me just bring you a new post that we've had on Truth Social by Donald Trump. You can see there, he says, the whole of civilization will die tonight, never to be brought back again. I don't want that to happen, but it probably will. However, now that we have complete and total regime change, different, smarter, and less radicalized minds prevail. Maybe something revolutionary, wonderful can happen. Who knows? We will find out tonight. One of the most important moments in the long and complex history of the world. 47 years of extortion, corruption, and death will finally end. God bless the great people of Iran. So that statement just released on Truth Social by Donald Trump in relation, of course, to that deadline that should expire at 8 o'clock Eastern time, US, which is 1 a.m. British time. So our time, 1 a.m. Wednesday morning, where Donald Trump has said that if the Strait of Hormuz has not been reopened and there isn't a deal with the Iranians, then he would destroy countless Iranian infrastructure, including power plants, bridges, and desalination plants as well.
Trump posted something this morning that stopped a lot of people cold. A whole civilization will die tonight, never to be brought back again. His exact words on Truth Social this morning. Here's where things stand right now. Trump's deadline for Iran to reopen the Strait of Hormuz expires at 8 p.m. Eastern time tonight. If no deal, he's threatened to destroy Iran's power plants and bridges. Dow futures obviously dropped 200 points right after that post. S&P futures down 0.5%. NASDAQ futures down another 0.5%. But here's the part most people are completely missing. Talks are still happening. Axios reported the U.S. and Iran are discussing a potential 45-day ceasefire. Reuters confirmed a Pakistan-brokered plan is currently being reviewed. So you have the most aggressive posts of this entire war and active peace negotiations happening at the exact same time. That is the market we're in right now. And here's what's interesting. Monday, with all of that tension, stocks actually closed higher. The market is exhausted by the headlines. It stopped reacting the way that it used to. That's not a green light, but it does tell you something about where sentiment actually is. Most investors are still betting this ends sooner rather than later. The question is, what happens between now and 8 p.m. today? Here's my honest take. Tonight is the single most important deadline of this entire conflict. The investors who aren't losing sleep right now, they built portfolios that generate income regardless of which way this is going to go. That's the Buffett approach, right? Collecting premium on quality positions while the market swings on headlines. I put together a completely free workshop in my bio that breaks down exactly how that works with free calculators and free trade log templates so you can see the full entire picture. Tonight changes a lot. So make sure you have a strategy that doesn't depend on guessing how. Head over onto the link in my bio right now.
We're just hours away from President Trump's deadline to Iran. He's telling Iran's regime to reopen the Strait of Hormuz or face mass destruction, including all of the country's bridges and power plants.
They want us to keep bombing.
As the clock ticks down to 8 p.m. Eastern Time, President Trump's threats are getting more specific.
Every bridge in Iran will be decimated by 12 o'clock. Every power plant in Iran will be out of business, burning, exploding, and never to be used again.
Trump was asked repeatedly Monday whether such attacks on civilian infrastructure would constitute a war crime. He insisted the Iranian people get it.
They would be willing to suffer that in order to have freedom. The Iranians have, and we've had numerous intercepts. Please keep bombing.
The war was also on his mind at the annual White House Easter egg roll.
I don't think it gets much more hostile than Iran.
Flanked by the Easter Bunny and the First Lady, Trump rejected a 45-day ceasefire proposed by other countries in the region.
The only one that's going to set a ceasefire is me. I haven't set any ceasefire.
Despite his tough talk, Trump said he believes the Iranians are negotiating in good faith, though he claimed the talks have been hampered by the destruction caused by U.S. missiles.
We're communicating like they used to communicate 2,000 years ago with children, bringing a note back and forth. They have no communication.
With gas prices surging and his poll numbers sagging, Trump acknowledged there is pressure on him to wrap up this war.
Unfortunately, the American people would like to see us come home. If it were up to me, I'd take the oil, I'd keep the oil, and would make plenty of money.
At one point yesterday, Trump claimed that he could take out the entire country in one night if he wanted to, and then he added that night could be tonight. The president of Iran posted on X overnight, quote, over 14 million proud Iranians have, up until this moment, declared their readiness to sacrifice their lives in defense of Iran. I, too, have been, am, and will be a sacrifice for Iran.
Yeah, I mean, that is something I read this morning. They said Iran is getting an overwhelming amount of their citizens ready to fight Netanyahu and Trump. So those people are trying to volunteer to help take them out. So, y'all, I just think this is crazy. Donald Trump is not saying something and not going to do it. He's putting this out there for a reason, which tells me him and Netanyahu done put their heads together and came up with something. And Donald Trump is the one in the forefront talking about it. You know, they're going to end their civilization. You really think about it, taking out a power plant, taking out bridges, people are still going to survive, even if they got to leave the country. And that's probably what many of them are going to do. They're not going to just sit there and die. Those folks will survive. They'll go into survival mode and just be on the move into another country where they can find refuge. Donald Trump talked like after he takes the bridge and take power out, those people are just going to sit there and shrivel up and just, I guess, die. They're not. They're not. They're going to do what most people do. They're going to go where they got power and where they can be safe, even if they got to step out of Iran to find that safety. That's what they're going to do. You're going to see a lot of people on the move. So, well, the Iranian people, one thing they did say, they don't want to cause no harm to us, you know? And whatever happens, I'm sure they're going to retaliate. They've been doing it the entire time, y'all. The whole time they have been retaliating. And China already said, if it gets bad enough, they're going to step in. Okay, so whatever Donald Trump does, you can get some retaliation from China because China already said they were ready to come in and fight alongside with Iran. You can go out there and look at the video. It was one of their foreign ministers that said this. I think like the next day after Israel and the United States bombed Iran, he said, "Look, we will step in." And I believe they will. So we will see if Donald Trump can pull this off, or the Iran military will be ready to shoot down the planes. They've already done it before. They've already shot down U.S. planes. So if they shoot down your planes, they may not take all the bridges out that you think. They may not be able to take the power plant out like you think. I'm sure they're going to have their air defense missiles ready. They're going to have it ready. I doubt if they're going to just be sitting ducks. So, y'all, we shall see. I'm going to definitely be looking at the live streams online, and hopefully I'll find a really good one where I can watch what's going on. So I'm sure it'll be a lot to be said tomorrow. Now, I have another live coming up at 3:45 where Donald Trump admits he wanted to take Iran's oil. That's what he said. He wanted to take Iran's oil. And I said, okay, so that's what this is all about? Taking their oil? So you're willing to shed all of these people's blood, take the lives of these young people in the military just so you can have some oil? So I'm going to let you, and these are Donald Trump's words. You're going to see himself on the video admitting they want to take Iran's oil. They want to be able to control all of the oil in Iran. But see, Iran has proven they are real fighters. I think if any Americans went in there with the attempt of taking over the oil, they will unalive them. They wouldn't stand a chance up in there taking that oil unchallenged. So I will see you at 3:45. RLI, thank you so much for the super chat. Trump needs to be removed from office at this point. Yes, he does, but we know that Congress and the Senate are filled with cowards. See, they don't have no problem pushing legislation that will hurt us, but they won't stand up to Donald Trump, who's literally killing people. They won't stand up to him. So if we had different people in office that had a backbone, yeah, Donald Trump should be removed. But as it stands with these folks that's there, more than likely they're not going to do nothing. They have already proven they're not going to come out in a strong way against Donald Trump. But thank you so much for your support for my channel. I deeply appreciate it. Shalom, family.